Money Max account, I'm using it myself. The product is incredible. The program works. It is allowing me to pay off all of my debts in about less than 5 years, saving over $200,000 in interest. The program works extremely well. I have clients using it. I have some that are debt-free already because of it. Yeah, it's quite a blessing to share with others and to educate others on the way math works and the way interest is actually calculated. So I wanted to go through that part because this is typically when the light bulb goes off. And then when you see the demo, it tends to really shine and really make a difference for people in a very big way. So please know this. I'm going to go through some slides here, and then I will certainly show the program in action so that you can see it for yourself. And all you may be skeptical, you may have some doubts. Hopefully, the purpose of this is to really show you in action how this all works. Okay, so the Money Max account is here. Yes, it does allow you to pay off all your debts, build your equity extremely faster if you have mortgages without refinancing. There's no change to your budget. Yeah, it's incredible actually. So here we go. Okay, so just to give you a little history, you may have already seen this on the video, so I'm just going to go through this quickly. The program has been around quite some time, has won many awards, over 70,000 clients. In the beginning days, you had to have a mortgage and you had to have a home equity line of credit to even make the program work for yourself. There's ways that interest is calculated on certain debts and it takes advantage of all that. However, that was all you could do back then, was use a home equity line of credit to your advantage. Now the program has been revamped and all you need is a checking account and a savings account and the program can work for you, which is phenomenal because it's most people. And it's for anybody with any kind of debt. You don't even have to have a mortgage. It could be student loans, credit cards, etc. Right? So product is proven. They have done a whole bunch of research. Ernst & Young gave them an Entrepreneur of the Year award back in 2008. And the program is proven now. Over 70,000 clients, over $2 billion in debt eliminated because of the program. Now, once again, you've probably already seen some of this on the videos that you've watched. But just to reiterate, many awards. This isn't some fly-by-night thing. Product is proven and works, right? So I wanted to break down, see here's what the program does. I really like to start with some education for you, okay? What the program really does is maximizes your cash flow so that every single penny matters, right? And it understands the way interest is calculated on all your debts, using your cash flow so that you cancel interest as much as mathematically possible, right, on all the debts that you have, without changing your lifestyle, without changing your budget, without making you make extra payments every month or anything like that. It's literally going to take advantage of the rules that the banks have on all your different kinds of debts, right, which I'll get into. But here's a great example that a lot of times people don't fully look at it. And I'm going to break it down just so you can open up your mind a little bit. Here's a mortgage, 6% loan. And I know a lot of people say, well, mortgages are less now, 3%, 4%. Believe it or not, there's many people that have a mortgage still at 6%. This is for illustration purposes only. My next slide goes over 4% loan real quick as well. So just know, I just wanted you to see the way interest actually works on an amortized loan. So your payment's $11.99, right? $1,200 a month. $1,000 of that payment goes to interest. I want you to stop there for a minute. How in the world is that 6%? Okay, truth is it's not. It is 6% over 30 years. Here's the biggest problem, everyone. Most people do not stay in their loans for 30 years. Most people either move or refinance every 5 to 7 years. And this program understands that. your banks, believe me, they know that, right? So that is why they absolutely front end load the interest on your mortgages and other types of amortized loans, so they collect as much interest as they possibly can, right? So that first month, it's more like 83% interest, okay? It's 6% over 30 years. Problem is, you're not going to stay in this loan most likely for 30 years. You're either going to move or refinance. That's what people typically do. And you think it would get a little better month 2, right? Nope. Congratulations. It goes down $1 in interest. Month 3, month 4, month 5. You see the trend here? Okay. There's no way that it makes sense in any other realm for you to pay that much interest if you don't have to. Problem is, we just accept it, right? Well, there is a better way to take advantage of the way the banking systems work and the way interest is calculated on your overall picture to figure out the fastest mathematical way to zero, right? So in this example, well, you've paid, $7,000, almost $6,000 of it went to interest, and $1,200 only went to principal. That's not good. Doesn't make sense. All right. There's ways that you don't have to do it this way, and I hopefully can open up your mind there. So just to reiterate, first month, 83%. By year 5, only $13,000 went to equity. The rest went to interest. $58,000 of it. Over the course of 30 years, 53%. What they call the effective interest. So you paid $431,000 for a $200,000 loan. $231,000 is interest. That is not okay. Okay. Now the reality is you probably pay even more than that because you're going to move or refinance, in 3, 4, 5, 7 years, and the cycle just starts all over again, front loading that loan with interest. So the only way you can mathematically pay less interest is somehow money needs to go to principal, right? You could try to do it on your own, spend a little extra money every month. It doesn't really make that big of a dent. What if there was a way you can use the bank's rules to your advantage, not the bank's, okay? So here's what I'm gonna do. This is on a 4% loan, by the way, just to show you for those that are thinking, oh, Brian, you showed 6%. Well, here's 4%. It's not much difference, guys, not at all, okay? And here's what I'm about to show you. We've created a better way, okay? And so what the Money Max account does, I want you to hear me here, is it looks at everything. It looks at your cash flow. It looks at money going in, money going out. It understands future case scenario, meaning, it understands what's going to happen in the future. It understood what happened already in the past. It's like a GPS system, but for your cash flow and for your finances and for your debt. Right? And we even have solutions to build wealth with your cash flow as well. All right? So what this actually does is constantly recalculate, mathematically speaking, the fastest mathematical way to zero. Right? And so if you make more money, it recalculates. If you spend more money, it recalculates. I'm going to show you the actual demo in action, right? But I want you to understand the how behind some of this as well. This is just an example. I am not saying this is how it will work for you. I don't know your debts. I don't know what you have available. But for this client, for this example, right, let's just pretend for a minute that this client had a line of credit, okay? And I use a line of credit, but it's at 10%. Would it ever make sense to pay off a 6% debt with 10% money? Well, most of you are going to say, well, no, of course not. 10% is bigger than 6. But what if it had nothing to do with the interest rate and everything to do with the way that interest is actually calculated? So you can use that for your advantage, all right? So in this example, this client has a 10%, let's say it's a credit card, or maybe it's a personal line of credit or a home equity line of credit, something that they can actually utilize the bank's monies and take advantage of the way that interest is calculated. Sometimes people don't have anything. So, there's ways you can do it with a savings account or things like that. But in this example, to show you what the program is doing is utilizing what's available to the client. So mathematically is taking advantage of the bank's rules, so that you can get out of debt as quickly as possible, but without affecting your cash flow at all or your lifestyle. Okay. So in this example, they have a 10% line of credit available. The software knows that, the program knows that, and says, hey, why don't you go ahead and borrow $1,012 from that line of credit? And you know what? Let's pretend for a minute with your cash flow, because it's constantly recalculating, like a GPS system in a car. When you make a turn, it recalculates, and make another turn, it recalculates. This is the same thing. So this program is saying, hey, wait a second. To get out of debt faster and to cancel as much interest as you possibly can, I want you to take $1,012 off this line of credit over here, because the way it calculates interest is completely different than the way it calculates interest on your mortgage. So one's going to say, well, you're just transferring a little debt. You are, okay? But mathematically speaking, it is the right move because it knew the client's cash flow, when they get paid. I mean, it even tells you on what date to do this. So you can utilize the bank's money, is almost interest-free, right? So this example here, this program is telling this client to borrow $1,012. And let's pretend, they don't even pay it back for a year. The way interest is calculated on a line of credit is based on something called the average daily balance, okay? So for the whole entire year, even if they never paid it back, you are gonna have to pay some interest, right? It's not free. Free money is great, but you'll pay $120 in interest. So I'm not hiding anything there. Okay. If you never pay it back for a year, it's 120. If you never pay it back for 2 years, it's 240. If you pay it back in, 6 months or slowly over time, right, utilizing your cash flow at specific intervals, yes, there will be some interest. But for the whole year, we're saying $120. So reach through the screen, give me 120 for the next 12 months. But in this example, the program told the client, wait a second, take that $1,012 and actually go ahead and apply it as an extra principal payment that first month, okay? Why would they tell them to do that? Because the way an amortized loan works, it is front-loaded with interest. And if you make any extra principal payment to that loan, what it does is it cancels out those months. Yes, a lot of people don't realize this. It jumps you ahead 5 months, okay? So you literally went from September down to March like that. And that means you didn't have to pay this interest, this interest, this interest, this interest, this interest. Yes, you just saved $5,000 in interest. Now guess what? To use the bank's monies to do that for yourself, you had to pay 120. So remember, give me 120. I'm going to take 5 months off your debt, off your mortgage, and $5,000 in interest. How many times would you want to do that? How many times? Truth is, you probably want to do that over and over and over again. What our program does is mathematically figure out the fastest mathematical way to zero. And then there's a wealth building side to all of this as well. What if you can get out of debt with all your mortgages and stuff in 5 years, right? Well, what would that mean? Maybe you'd want to buy a rental property, or, there's so many opportunities if you're actually letting the program work for you, where it understands making every single penny, it says dollar there, but every penny working for you and not the bank. It's literally looking at your checking accounts, your savings accounts, any other lines of credit you have, your mortgages, your car loan, and it's mathematically constantly showing you, even before you have to do it, which is so valuable, the cause and the effect of every single financial decision you'll ever have to make. There is nothing on the market like this. So thankful that I'm using it. So proud and thankful that I get to share this with others. And I hope you see like what this really does for you. Okay, it's not just like trying to send some extra payment money here or there. That can help you get out of debt. Okay, people do that. Most of the time, people don't stick with it, but they do that. But it's not the most optimal thing to do, to leverage money, float money, cancel interest out. The program itself has millions of lines of code. pages and pages to constantly understand timing, mathematics. Just so you know, they spent about $20 million on developing this. They hired a mathematician, developers, engineers, and they understand the way the banking systems work, how debt works, how different types of debt work, and your cash flow. And just like a GPS, it's going to constantly recalculate and really just give you a clear path. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to try to figure it out. You follow the action steps, okay? And the moment something changes, it recalculates, okay? So you just let it know what you're doing, okay? It doesn't move the money for you. It doesn't pay your bills. We don't want this program. It's a web-based solution that you log into. You can do it on your phone, you know, the desktop. It's like an account register, but way more advanced because it's giving you an actual action plan. You have to update it maybe 10 minutes a month. My wife does it every Saturday morning for a few minutes, you know, so it's simple. So here's it in summary. Helps you eliminate all your debts, helps you make educated decisions. In many cases, it actually improves credit scores, which is quite nice. It is yours. You can use it on multiple properties, multiple homes, multiple debts, and it's incredible. So what I want to do now is go ahead and show. Okay, it's really a little more branded and stuff, but this is a demo account. I'm going back a few months so I can show you real-time things that are happening so that you can see this product in action. Because it's not just about getting out of debt. What you'll see here is that you can use this program for the value of what it's really designed for, and it's for you to really understand the cause and the effect of every decision you'll ever have to make, and never be alone. Really make the right decision for your future, for your family's future, for your legacy. It really makes a difference for people, okay? So here we are. This is your action plan, okay? I'll go through this in a second, but this is your budget tab. This is John and Rebecca Jones, right? Everyone likes to keep up with the Joneses. But here's the budget tab, okay? What I like about this is, and I'm gonna slow it. Awesome. So here's the budget tab. This is John and Rebecca Jones. Their average month is $5,045. You know, maybe they're commissioned, maybe they're 1099, maybe they're self-employed, or maybe they're W-2. Their average income is $5,045. Their average expenses is $46,4259, right? And this is some light items. You can itemize this. You know, you can, if anyone follows like that envelope system that's out there, you can absolutely itemize all you want, or you could just put it all in as one. Maybe some of you may like pay most of their expenses every month on a credit card, right? And then you use that money interest free for 20 days or so and pay it off. A lot of people do that. So you can just say, you know, my credit card, instead of saying everything else. And it could be that 2,000 or whatever it is. But this is your budget, okay? And once again, you can be as specific as you want. And this is like your forecast of what you feel like, yeah, that's roughly on average what we spend on all these things, okay? But it's not your debt. The accounts tab is your checking account, your savings account, any other checking accounts. Maybe you have 2 or 3 business accounts or whatnot, but everything that your cash flow is in there, right? And this is your debts here, okay? So typical, right? Average American, an auto loan, credit card debt, maybe a signature loan, a mortgage. You know, this is normal. Now, John and Rebecca Jones are going to pay off $25,000 auto loan, MasterCard, the signature loan, and a $200,000 loan mortgage in 11.9 years. I want you to look at that, 11.9 years. That's the exact date that they'll be debt-free. You literally know to the penny and to the day you'll be debt-free. And it's constantly showing you the cause and the effect of every single thing you do and how it's going to affect this. This is like your lifeline or your dashboard, right? Really changes people's lives. And this is the interest that you'll save based on the action plan that you're going to follow, right? Really easy to use, really simple to follow. In the action plan, you're going to notice here that this is just their, like, John to checking. Well, that's just paycheck, right? That makes sense. So yeah, I got paid today, so I execute it, right? Yeah, this happened, okay? It went into my bank account, execute. Simple, right? And by the way, you can even have this hooked up under the accounts tab. You can have it hooked up. If I go to that really quick, you can have it hooked up. See where it says connect to your account, right? For $15 a month, just know that this will connect to all of your actual accounts, like your checking account, your savings account, all your credit cards. So if you use a credit or debit card, at the gas station or at the grocery store, the registry, just like QuickBooks would or Mint or Quicken, it just hooks up and it's part of the action plan now. You'll see it there. It's easy. It's already in there. That makes life a lot easier. Okay, but this is like your registry, if you will, and you just have to execute it and acknowledge that this has happened, right? So that's their normal payments, right? That's Rebecca's paycheck. And as it happens, you just execute it and let the program know what's going on, right? I'm going to turn on this true cost tab so you can see that in action, which is pretty neat. It shows you, for those that are not debts, it shows you using that money, what the true cost of it really is, and how it's affecting you. The one thing you want to see here also, so this is checking to savings or savings to MasterCard. These are extra steps. Whenever you see this squiggly line, these are extra steps in your program. And this is literally showing you that, hey, based on your cash flow you have now and what happened in the future, right? What's going to happen in the future? These are steps at these specific dates that you're going to take money from one account and transfer it to one of your other accounts. And all you have to do is do it, whether it's online, whether you write a check, whatever, you just do it. And it's mathematically saying, hey, if you follow these future steps without affecting your minimum budget, without affecting your cash flow, your lifestyle, if you follow these simple steps, you will be debt-free in 11.9 years, $143,000 in interest savings. That's the exact date. Now, a lot of you are going to say, wait a second, Brian. Life happens all the time. Things come up all the time. Absolutely. Absolutely. What I'm going to show you right now is going to blow your mind. I hope so. Anyway, it did mine, right? So let's just say, this is February here. And my wife and I are married 20 years come July, and we want to go on a really nice, the coronavirus is over. We want to go on a really nice vacation to celebrate 20 years. I say, hon, yeah, let's go to Greece. Now, what normally happens here is you just do it, right? You say, oh, put it on the credit card, figure it out, maybe try to save up for it. But what if you could actually see how it's going to affect you and your whole entire plan before you even have to do it, right? So here it is, add new action. And I'm going to say in July, because you can program it, I could program this 5 years out, right? I could literally decide I want to do something 5 years, 10 years from now, and I can prepare for it. I could buy a new car in a couple of years. I could put that in, which, you know what, I'll show that as well. So of course, if you're going on vacation, you're going to probably use your MasterCard, right? I'm just going to put Greece because I'm going to take her to Greece. It's our 20-year anniversary. So it is $10,000. You can categorize it. This is so easy to use. This is the vacation fund. It's coming off my credit card, $10,000. We're going to do this in July. So I'm going to say July 5th for the week, right? And look at this. Algorithms are doing their thing. Okay, so I want to show you guys something. The years to pay off just went up about almost 2.5 years. That's my exact payoff date from this. That's the interest savings. That went down like 40,000, I believe, right? Your action plan actually changed. Okay, the extra steps, I didn't write them down. I'm assuming they changed because the whole system is saying, okay, here is your $10,000 that is now programmed for July, right? You're going to use MasterCard. It understands that that is a future thing that's going to happen. And then it shows you that true cost this is eye-opening for a lot of our clients, myself included. The true cost, if you can read that under there, it's small, $43,752.73. Most people think, it's going to cost us $10,000. I'm putting it on the credit card. Maybe I'll pay some interest because I'm not going to pay it off right away. I understand, but we can afford the payment. We're good. No, this program's saying, well, it's actually costing you almost $45,000 because by doing that action, you just changed your payoff of your whole entire life, for the debt that you have, 2.5 years. Think about that. It's not saying it's going to pay off the credit card in 2.5 years. It's saying now you just affected your whole lifestyle, your whole payoff calculation, 2.5 years. And you're going to save, almost $40,000 less in interest. It may make you think really hard about, well, I don't know if that's the right thing to do, right? Maybe we'll only spend $5,000. Maybe I'll take my wife to Florida for a nice week or something. You really have to understand the cause and the effect of how this actually affects you and your family. This is life-changing. This isn't some Excel spreadsheet or some debt payoff calculator that is very static, right? There's a lot of tools that are budget tools out there. The Money Max account literally changes with your cash flow and shows you how it's going to affect you, not just today, but in the future. And that is one of the most powerful things. So for sake of just like my wife and I talking through it, I know that now. Maybe we decide, let's go back to the drawing board. So I take that out of the formula, click of a button, it's now out. And we're going to talk through that and see how that's going to affect us, right? See, it went back down to 11.9. All right, so that being said, and so was it 13 point? It was almost 2 years, I think, right? So what's cool is another thing to show you is a car, right? So my wife and I, maybe our car is about, it's time we get a new car soon, and we're going to buy a new minivan, okay? So I'm going to put this in to our calculations, and we're about to do this. So I'm going to add a new account, and it's a loan. And by the way, we haven't done this yet. This is me finding out how this is going to affect our family before we even do it, okay? And I'll just say it's with Bank of America, right? Who knows? Who cares? And a new minivan is definitely $40,000. And by the way, the car dealership, they gave me a great rate, right? Because and you know what? They made me extend it for 72 months. This is real life. So I'm going to put that in. And you want to say, car dealership, let's see how this is going to affect us before we even do it, right? So $40,000 loan, 2.9%, 72 months. Yeah, we're going to get it this month. Tell you what, we'll start paying on it next month, right? So it's May of 2020. Sure, May 3rd. May 10th, it's due. That's great, right? We'll even say it's due on the 15th. Great, right? So, I got to make sure the statement date is accurate. April. Okay. All right. So now I literally can see if this even makes sense for our family to do. Wow. I added 3 more years to our total debt payoff, right? And once again, the interest saved went down, okay? So I can decide with my wife, we can talk through this. Does it make sense to buy this right now? What if we say, well, that's if we buy it now. Our car is still running, it's still good. What if we waited 2 years, right? I mean, let's see, it's still a decent car. Is this the right move for our family? So May 22 is now the May 5th, is now the time to April 22. Right, and so we looked at, well, let's see, look at that, guys, 110, 14.8. And we say, well, can we wait a couple of years? Maybe we can, right? So let's see how that will affect us. Okay, so it took it down from 14.8 to 14.4, right? By the way, our whole time, our entire action plan is completely changing, completely recalculating, completely understanding how everything's going to affect us, not just today, but for the long haul, for how it's affecting us in the future. And it's constantly recalculating the fastest mathematical way to zero debt, right? It's life-changing for people. And so once again, that was 2 years, 14.4, which is about a half a year, right? Because this goes to 14.9 and then 15, right? So it's about a half a year, so 14.8 to 14.4, 6 months of payments for everything, right? That's quite substantial. So 6 months of all these types of payments, roughly, difference. So last thing I'll do, this is how you can use it as a tool, is my wife says, well, that was 2 years. What if we just do it for, a year from now, right? So instead of May 22, we change that to May 21, which means we have to change the statement date to 4/21. And we just want to see, please enter a valid statement date. Must be before 0.4 to 14.5. So look at that, okay? It started at 14.8. And we said, well, what if we wait a little bit, right? And it went to 14.4. And that was waiting 2 years. But only if we just waited 1 year, which is what this shows, it's 14.5. To me and my wife, that probably sounds like a good middle ground, and we can make the right decision, right? So no matter what it is, I mean, some people, last thing I'll show is some people do things like, hey, we want to buy a rental property, right? This is where wealth building can really take effect for you guys and really make a difference. So last thing I'm going to show is, what if we got a new mortgage, okay? Because we're getting a new property. It's a mortgage, BOA. I'll just call this rental property. Okay, and this is where it really gets fascinating. $200,000 loan, right? 4%, 200,000, 4%. Brand new mortgage, right? We know that. And on a $200,000 loan, it's $1199.10. Okay, which you can see here, fully amortized. Okay, we're good to go. All right. Actually, no, that's a 6%. So 954.83. 954.83. There we go. So this is your new mortgage, and you can say, well, let's see how this is going to happen for us, buying this new property, and have to see how that's going to affect us. But then this is awesome to see. It's saying, hey, well, if you don't get any renters in here, you have 30 months. So a lot of times people want to get a rental property, and they freak out if they don't have a renter, right away, or they freak out if someone stopped renting and they have to go find a new renter. This program also shows you whenever this turns red, hey, listen, you do have 30 months before you run out of any funds, right? So it's saying any available funds that are in your part of your steps, part of your budget, part of your accounts, you do have some time. Don't worry, right? 30 months is almost 3 years, okay? But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say, well, we didn't get we bought the house, our first mortgage payment's happening, but 3 months from now, we find a renter, okay? And so in 3 months, you have new income that's coming in. And I'm gonna add income. And this is where it's so awesome, rental income. And you know what, on that kind of home, your rent is probably $1,500 a month. I mean, truly, because it makes sense. So your rental income is not starting till, let's say 3 months, let's say in August, okay? That's even further. April, May, June, July. Yeah, so it's 4 months away. And we can even give it a category. Let's say April 1st it starts. So we can give a category of income, that's fine. And we can change that even if we wanted to rental income right there. You can actually categorize it for yourself, which is phenomenal. And now look at this. Phenomenal. If that doesn't make you excited, I don't know what does. You're going to now own 2 homes, okay? You're going to own free and clear. All this is paid off, the auto loan, the MasterCard, the signature loan, your first mortgage, your rental property. All of this is paid off in less than 15 years. You're going to have 2 homes free and clear. And you can see this in real time. And if you notice, by the way, your action plan completely changed. I want you to look at these funds transfers. Guys, if you don't see the value in that, I don't know. There's nothing else like this. This is life-changing. You're now going to save $226,000 in interest. You're going to be paid off free and clear of 2 homes. You get another rental property, you put it in the rental. If there's times that the rental income doesn't happen, right? It's simple to do. Where's Rebecca's paycheck? That's not the rental income, because I told it wasn't starting until August. But let's say they miss rent a month or 2, or they get out and you haven't had rent. It's not like you got to change everything in the accounts. You just say, hey, this didn't happen, right? You execute it, let's pretend this was the rent, which it's not. It's just her paycheck. But yeah, for this week, or for this month, it didn't happen, right? And that's fine. Oh, for actual income, it's got to be more. So $1, because that wasn't rental income, that was her paycheck. So she probably made a paycheck of some sort. But if that was rental income, you do the same thing. You reduce it down to what it was. If it was 0, you put 0, and it says, okay, it changed a little bit. It changed a little bit, but that's temporary. It knows that in the future, that rental income is coming back, right? And there's so many variables you can do. I'm taking up a lot of time here. I really hope that you see the value in that. And once again, something that did change, which is great to see. I took away that income for that paycheck, and her whole action plan changed again. Because all it ever cares about is it understands what happened. It understands the future, the forecast, the budget. It understands how money does change, meaning income changes, expenses change. This is constantly recalculating the fastest mathematical way to get out of debt. And there's even a whole wealth building side to this that I haven't even gotten into. But I hope that helps. Please get with whoever shared this with you. Of course, I'm available if this is someone that I'm talking with. And I really hope that you see the value in what this can do for you, for your life, for people you know. Share this. This is a very valuable program that is already changing many lives. So take care, and I really hope that helped. Bye-bye now.